With a minute to spare. With a minute to spare. There's no such thing as CP time at Afro Economics. We get it started on time. Talking about protecting ourselves today, protecting our assets, protecting that stuff, praying for all our friends. We have several members in the Tampa area, in Florida. Dear God, protect them because they are staying there, holding it down. Attorney Craddock, I don't know what we're going to do about that. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you, Miss Davis. You see me on time? You see me on time? I am on time. I'm so blessed. I am so thankful. I'm just so completely thankful for everything. I just know I was wondering what it was gonna, how that was gonna come up on the back. That's why I have that boring background back there. You can go now to afroeconomics.com, click on my picture of the property that I have for this week because they never updated. So I had to kick the restream to the curb and have the YouTube up there so that you could go to the website and communicate with me. But you got to have the nerve. You got to have the guts to come in like Major Craddock and Miss Davis, Reverend Bozeman. See, that takes guts. That takes strength. That takes courage. Come in, show yourself, show your face, change the world, right? And I am so glad that y'all are here with me because I was just saying, Reverend Bozeman, we have members that are in that area. Remember that last year, the other year when I went to Tampa? Look at that. And I remember when I went to Tampa and I was saying that we have members there and they're still holding it down. So I'm just praying that everything, is not as bad as what they say, so that our family that's in Florida will be all right. We got Major Attorney Craddock in the house. I have told y'all about him in many ways, about that kid. I told you about that kid that I met in high school, and now he's a lawyer. His sister is a lawyer, and all of that. Look at him down there. He came in. And also Miss Davis, look at her. Do you think? But she's really looking at her phone, looking at us. That's what it is.
Wait a minute. No. I'm
You
putting
think
something in the chat.
exactly? You think she's distracted, but she is not. She is.
No, see,
She's
wait.
exactly.
There it
We
is.
know that. We know it.
Yeah.
We know
See?
it. We with you. We're with you. I want to somebody go in and check where that is, where it has Afro Economics Live, and click and make sure that that's working too. You see, when you go to the website and then you click right, look, I'm trying to use the mouse with it. But you see, like, the Afro Economics Live on that website. Click there, click in YouTube, and make sure that that's working also. Because the Ryan just hooked that up tonight. Because I was saying that the other one, the restreams wouldn't allow the person in there to chat. So whoever goes in there, say something. We see your clicks, but you couldn't say anything, but you can talk back now. Oh, I guess they're like, well, why don't you put up your chat then, JB? So how you doing, Deborah Mack? I don't know if y'all can see it when you're in the studio like that. But Deborah, I see. Okay, from Stone Mountain. Deborah talking back. We waking up,
Yeah, it's working.
sending up prayer. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. I want to figure out a way that we can like start on using that on Friday if I can do a private link or something, you know, and set it up as private so that we won't have to use that ZOOM. I want to share with y'all something that I'm gonna pull up my notes because we're talking tonight about insurance because of all this stuff going on. The hurricanes and the next hurricane, and I saw online there was like this huge like tornado looking thing in Oklahoma. couple weeks ago. And so we have these things going on. And how do you protect yourself? How do you properly protect yourself? Some things that we have to think about from an insurance perspective. And then I wanted to follow up on some things that, and I didn't mean this, Attorney Craddock, I don't want you to feel like you have to say anything about this, but I was like, I wanted to share something that we have brought up before, and I had absolutely no idea that we would actually have someone with a law degree in here. I want to look at some madness. I just want to share with y'all some straight madness regarding this young thug trial. And can y'all see that where I'm sharing it?
No.
Okay. I am sharing. Oh, I forgot I got to do this. So I want.
Okay, you can see it now.
This trial needs to be stopped. This is probably one of the longest trials in Atlanta history. I don't know if you've been following because I know you're a corporate attorney and I have to worry about this kind of stuff. But this is it's crazy, just from a financial perspective. This is how, if you get caught up in the judicial system, it can ruin your financial life, innocent or guilty. It would be much better to be guilty. You're innocent, it is going to ruin you. And I don't know if y'all watching like that. Vince McMahon has this documentary out about the guy that his father started the wrestling foundation.
Yeah.
And you look at how many times in the corporate life people get sued, and because we think like P. Diddy, this is like the beginning of something. P. Diddy is now being sued by 120 plus people on a civil trial. So this is of course this is like a criminal case. They're trying to prove that somehow Young Thug's record label is connected with crime. So the black judge already has been fired. He's been kicked to the curb because of bias, and it has to be investigated. That he was allowing things he shouldn't have been allowing. They had private meetings. This just shows you how the judicial system can be weaponized, and we just too often as a community ignore it, and we just accept everything as true, and we're not looking at it. But we really need to be galvanizing around. They need to correct these things. Now, forgive me, Ms. Davis, because I know you live some in that area where we're talking about, but this isn't just in Fulton County. This is a problem.
Yeah, Mr. Smirker, you can go ahead and step outside for us. Thank you.
So the lady, she's the prosecutor for Fonnie Willis's office in the yellow and this green. She works for Fonnie Willis. It's still rolling. She looks frozen, but
Your Honor, so
okay, this guy back here.
Well, first of all, my motion is a motion for mistrial based on the actions of the prosecutor. My objection initially to the item was that it contained hearsay. The state represented at the bench that it was not hearsay. There was no hearsay contained in it. We did not address the issue of what the state already knew, which is that there was a phone number attached to it that she was going to try to elicit testimony from this witness about who that phone number belonged to. That in and of itself is speculation, but it's certainly hearsay. The document can't authenticate itself. I believe the site for that proposition is Twiggs versus State. It's 315 Georgia Appeals 191. So this witness can't look at a document and say that it says this phone number is from Justin Cobb's Instagram or social media posting. This is who it belongs to. So that was my objection. I believe the objection was well founded. I believe the state purposely put that up there after misrepresenting as to whether or not it contained any hearsay in it. And based on that, I would move for mistrial.
May I respond?
You may.
Judge,
She's talking. This yellow.
Can
jacket.
somebody put the document up?
Her last name is Love.
I don't want to.
yes.
Watch this lie. Watch. This is just the biggest lie I've ever heard in my life. And she works for the county. It's crazy.
First, the state objects to a mistrial. Second, Your Honor, what Mr. Adams indicated that he did not want on here were the comments with. Where's the phone? There it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
the comments generally being all of the writing on the right side of the picture.
Your Honor,
And so I said to you, is any of it hearsay? Is any of it being offered for the truth? And you said, no.
Your Honor, what I was asking the witness to do is to tell what was of significance to that number and what he did in terms of finding out and corroborating information that he obtained, because he obtained phone records. I don't intend that this
She is
evidence or
ticked.
this
The
exhibit
judge
will
is ticked.
prove or
'Cause she lied.
show that this is Justin Cobb's phone number.
You're
It
asking him that? And
No,
asking
Your
him
Honor,
to testify to that?
I'm asking him, and I understand the court, I'm asking him
you?
what handle it's next to, and Your Honor, what he did after seeing what he saw on this
That's
social
not what
media
you
page.
asked, Judge. You represented at the bench that none of this, that being the writing on the right side of the picture, which we're all squinting at because it's tiny on the piece of paper. And so I am relying upon you to actually be honest with the court and opposing counsel so that we can deal appropriately with the evidentiary issue. Was any of it being offered for the truth? And you said no. And then you turned around, and after it was admitted over the overruling of the hearsay objection, based on the representation that nothing was being offered for its truth, you drew the witness's attention to the phone number and tried to have the witness testify to whose phone number it was. If that is not offered for the truth, what is it?
Amen. Speak. That is sad that it has come to the judge protecting the defendant.
So what's the deal here? What are they talking about? Clear me up on that. I'm lost.
Can you want to elaborate on that, JB?
I mean, I'm totally
Well,
lost.
we got
All
two
it is-
JBs in here.
So when you're dealing with hearsay, Adams
Attorney Craddock, we'll call him Attorney Craddock.
when you're dealing with hearsay, so the prosecutor offered evidence and they could not be authenticated. So there's a process to authenticate things. It's, like Bibles can be authenticated, writings can be authenticated, journals, diaries can be authenticated if it's in the person's handwriting and things of that nature. Wills can be authenticated. There's an authentication process. She offered a screenshot of I assume it's a social media post that cannot be authenticated. And what they were asking the witness was, is that his phone number? Effectively, they were asking the witness to authenticate that phone number. And the witness can't do that because it cannot be authenticated. And so that's why the judge is saying, that's why the defense attorney is saying that's hearsay because it can't be authenticated, and I'm asking for a mistrial.
That's right. And then she promised the judge that she wouldn't she wouldn't present it like it was something that was authenticated, that it was true,
Yeah.
Like, is that like an example? Like in my business, if somebody wants to take money out of their account, they have to prove who they are. That's the authentication,
Yeah.
right? Like, what I'm saying? Like, they got to give you 8 questions. Did you ever live on this address? Did you so-and-so? This is da-da-da. Okay, Mr. Lewis, we'll send, this money out to you. But,
And there's a record to that.
okay,
There's a record to it.
okay.
In the event that something comes out, and it's not apples for apples, the example that you're using, but
Okay.
it's I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, like I was probably confused everybody more. But I get that what she's saying, the judges are frustrated with her, and the judge goes on, and then I saw it. I read it, and then I did a photo shoot. I did a screenshot of what the judge, was about to go on to say. And I was like, why is this thing like haunting me today? And I don't know, it was just something about, like, y'all just gotta listen to this. Like, she says, this is the judge. it's baffling to me that somebody with the number of years of experience that you have time after time continues to seemingly and purposefully hide the ball to the extent you possibly can, to the extent you possibly can, for as long as you possibly can. Hide the ball. That's what she's talking about. And then the judge, Whitaker, goes on to say, I really don't want to believe that it is purposeful, but honestly, after a certain number of times, you start to wonder how it could be anything but that you just not being, honest. But anyways, go on to read. Unless it is just that you are so unorganized that you are throwing this case together as you try it. She's just right playing it as she goes along. This case is being made more difficult for everybody because of the haphazard way in which it is being presented. It has gone on, Attorney Craddock, almost 2 years now.
Damn.
But now we're gonna throw out something all over a phone number. We're gonna call a mistrial over a phone number. I mean,
Right?
we can do that.
No, it's not that. She could call they could call the mistrial because she said that she wasn't going to do what she did in front of the jury.
Oh, here's the thing: just because a mistrial is called doesn't mean the trial could they can
Yeah.
re-indict and things of that nature. So mistrial is just a procedural type of thing. So that doesn't mean anything.
Because today, Fonnie Willis presented to put that back in. The judge threw the phone number, that social media stuff out. Fonnie Willis is saying, let's put it, please consider putting it back in. So, and they can do that too. Even though she knows like this is like a blatant like negligence on her office's part, and it seems to me that they should let the basically now it's a victim go home. What if he's innocent? Are they going to like give him reimbursement for 2 years of being in jail? He is in jail. They won't even give him. He can't bond himself. He has the same charges basically as Donald Trump and everybody else, racketeering or RICO charge, same charge, but they won't let them go home while the trial is going on. As if a black guy can just get on an airplane and go anywhere he wants. Like look, as if any of them blend into society.
Right.
They're so rich. They're just gonna go, like just give up everything. And they can do
But
things.
has any guilt been proven anywhere?
You can't, because the trial hasn't even gotten that far. That's what they're working on. It's so sad. That's your tax money, though. Well, Fulton County tax money. You live. What'd you say? You in Stone Mountain. So
Yeah,
but
I'm
they
in
probably,
DeKalb,
but if this keeps going on, they're gonna need Stone Mountain money to make it happen. They coming over to get your money.
yeah, they probably already got it. Really.
But like, if you are a professional and you want to protect yourself, speaking of insurance, then for things like that, for somebody come up and sue you, you really can't. I hope that people realize that it doesn't matter if you have a LLC, a C corp, a S corp, anything. You cannot protect yourself from those type of things. You just can't do. Make sure you just have money. You can't. The richer you get, the more you're a target. Would you agree, Attorney Crowder?
Absolutely.
You gotta have money. You gotta have a lawyer on the retainer. You gotta. I mean, if you really operate in business and you're exposing yourself, you can have like liability insurance, but the liability is not for negligence. It's not for criminal behavior. So
Well, liability may be for negligence, but not criminal behavior.
yes, thank you. But not, what I'm saying? Not negligence, like you shot a woman. You know what I'm saying? You shot the woman for like the doctor malpractice. That would be like where the negligence came in, because they would still be covered.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess like Arizona, Michigan. Well, then the insurance would cover it, or but you wouldn't be criminal. They indicted for negligence, but if you tried to do harm. If they can prove purposeful harm, right?
If they can prove purposeful, your insurance policy is not going to kick in
True.
because it's excluded at that point because insurance is not going to cover the intentional acts.
So it wouldn't be called negligence, it'd be called intentional act.
That's the
Okay.
case. Most policies will exclude that.
So that's what I need to say. Like with a cop, he's not covered for an intentional act for that where everybody's concerned about, what's that called?
Immunity?
Yeah, they're not, what I mean? Intentional acts are not covered by immunity. So we don't have to worry
Exactly.
about that.
Exactly.
So
Intentional
many
acts.
people are so worried about that. Like, oh, if they have immunity, they could just go around killing people. No, that's not how it works,
Intentional acts not covered.
right?
Correct.
He's just hesitant in what he says because he's a lawyer and he don't want it held against him. Isn't that sad? We gotta be careful with everything that we say. It's like, that's what I was telling them. I was like, somebody without a license can say anything.
Have to be
We-
mindful. I have to be very mindful.
yes. Because again, why? Like, I share that all the time. That we have. How you doing, Kanika? How you doing, Miss Person? Which one? When you said that's murder, I forgot which one. You were referring to the police. Exactly. How you doing, Miss Brown? How you doing, Mr. Lewis, Mr. Jenkins? Y'all better come in the studio. We are getting ready. So let's just talk about the insurance. But I just think that we should stay on these cases, not listen. We have so much. We're so privy to so much information now. We need to listen, read, see these things, question stuff. Stop just accepting everything at its face value for the headline. I think that 60 Minutes did a great interview with um, Vice President, Harris. And I don't know if it was today or yesterday, but everybody needs to look up that their brother was interviewing her. He asked her questions. When she didn't answer him, he asked the question again. Have you seen that, Attorney Craddock, yet? Have you seen that interview?
I sure have.
He tore that up. I mean, he was like, I'm gonna get some answers today.
Mhm.
It was like, I mean, he was really good. Really good. Not mean.
He
I
was
don't know.
respectful. He was extremely
Yeah.
respectful.
And why do we even think it's disrespectful to treat someone like a professional?
Right. Right.
You come on, I'm an investment advisor. How in the world is it disrespectful if you ask me a question and I look bad because, God forbid, I didn't know my stuff?
Hmm.
It didn't like harm me that Attorney Craddock said negligence can be whatever the correction was. I'm not an attorney. And Lord knows I gotta tell y'all all the time. I have to repeat that because I'm not an attorney.
And
So
I'm
we
not an
have
attorney
to-
right now either. I'm just
He's not an attorney right now either. He's the person that happens to have a law degree right now.
right.
That's right. Exactly. Right?
You're absolutely right.
But we, like I said, we actually, deserve to get as much information as we can. And it doesn't mean that we don't like the person. It doesn't mean that I don't like that lady, the prosecutor in the yellow coat. But I don't like when we represent ourselves and we're not on top of our game. And if, the person who is correcting us happens to not be the same color as us, well, then thank God for them, because at least they're helping us be better at what we're doing. God uses everybody, every color, to help us be a better person. I mean, literally. Sometimes what we take as an insult, I remember one day this white lady was telling me, she was like, you really don't think enough of yourself. You don't see how much you're capable of. Guess what my response was to her? Guess what my response was? You're right. You're right, white lady. You're right. She was right. Because nobody had said, you know what, you are really capable of a lot. And and she was older than me, have been in the business longer than me, you know, worked on the corporate inside, and she saw opportunities for me, a lot of stuff which I am doing today. And, you know, I don't think she necessarily liked me, but I'm definitely going to take your truth. I am capable. It ain't like she said you ain't capable. She said you don't see everything that you are capable of doing. We miss that. All we see is the insult and stuff. Mm. That is, you know, then you were working on a whole different level, because then there comes a lack of confidence, you know, because the word says he will make your enemies your footstool. So that means you're going to get some direction from some people that you don't like and don't like you. But you're going to learn today. You're gonna learn, or you're just not going to get better. And we'll say in a minute, well, I just don't like them. I don't like them. Well, why don't you like 'em? I don't like them. You know, what in the world? Like don't pay no bills. Hello, Virginia Power. You know, I know y'all like me. I'm a very nice person. Like Kanika said, the best teacher is truth. The best teacher is truth. And that prosecutor is lacking. Fonnie Willis's office is lacking. And they're gonna sit there and attack the YSL crew. You know, they're probably more professional and more on their game than them.
Yeah, they're being hampered by the attitude of that'll do.
That
That'll
office,
do.
you mean that office?
Yeah.
That office? Yeah. I mean, they even had emails with her saying that, you know, you're doing this to us, to Trump's people. You're doing this to us because we're black. We're black women. You know, and you're doing this. I mean, so then they, you know, released the email, you know, saying like, what does that have to do with our need for information from your office? I don't know exactly how it works, but don't they have to give them stuff? Major product, like, don't they have to do something? Like, they have to give that. They have to, you know, they they have to prove that they're guilty, correct? So they gotta do all the doing. They supposed to do it. Then all
Right.
they gotta
Right.
do is say, I'm not guilty. They can literally just respond with, we ain't do that. Correct? They don't have to prove their innocence, right? They have to prove they're guilty.
Mm-hmm.
That she got all the work. But they're over there, the defense is doing more work than them.
Mm-hmm.
That's embarrassing to us because we are better than that. We're better than that, you know. So like y'all feel that, and it's exactly because it's being accepted. It's being accepted. It's being accepted. Exactly. Exactly. You lower the bar. We lower the bar. Every time we lower the bar, that's the way it is. You know, you just accept it. No, I see it. People go out of their way to get an opportunity to be less than what they can be. Because we tell them the truth. I tell them the truth. Y'all know I tell the truth. I'm going to tell you. Oh, you can do this, this, this. You can so and so. No, no, no. If it sounds like work, they don't want to do it. Like I tell people, I can help you correct your credit, but we're going to have to do some work. And we're going to both have to work on this. Or you're going to pay something bogus, you know, over and over, $200 a month for nothing to some credit protection thing. Or you're going to have to put in the work yourself. You know, we can do everything that's easy, or we can make sure that we do everything the right way and build a solid house based on a foundation. I read today that after 1992, Florida changed their regulations so that their homes that are built in Florida have to be stronger. So if you're an insurance company and you're gonna, you know, and there's very limited insurance companies left in Florida, for example. So it's gonna be California, gonna be the same way. Any of that, they feel like they're in a zone where they're gonna have a lot of inclement weather. There's gonna be a lot less protection for them. right? So and I mean protection, I'm saying a lot less insurance options available. They're going to try to limit, and you have to be very careful, and you need to have a financial advisor who's going to help you. Like though I am an investment advisor, and I work mostly with your investments, I'm also licenses in property and casualty insurance and the life insurance, all insurances. So because of that, I enjoy conversations like this, on why it's important. If you're in Florida, you have a newer home, it's going to increase your chances of getting insurance protection because the code standards for after 1992 were better. No, meaning your house had to be built better, built stronger. So if somebody's in a house that was built in 1980, they better watch out today, right? Everything should constantly be upgraded. How old can a roof be before an insurance company is going to start giving you a hard time about it? How long? Like, because in insurance, we ask, when the last time you upgraded it? Like, you could have a house that's built in 1980, but you brought it up to code for Florida. Like, it might have been built, a long time ago, but as long as they prove to the insurance company that they put in these beams and everything according to the code for the 1992 and beyond, then you're going to be able to more easily find insurance company that will want to cover you. This is an interesting time though. But how old? Because this is interesting. How old do you think? Because I always thought 30. I always thought, around 30 years, then the roof is old. But
No, it's
but
10. I
you
thought
get
it was
you
10.
can get past 10, but you better replace it by 15, according to standards. That around 15 years is about all that you're going to get. Because after 16, when you get into 16 years, the insurance company is going to start saying your roof is old unless you can prove to me you did upgrades, unless you have a new one. So, like, those are the type of things where people don't think about when they say, oh, rent goes up every year. They don't think about how expensive it is to have a house. Nobody, unless you live somewhere that they have a big HOA. So you get what you pay for. Rent goes up because you replace the roof too. It's got to make sure everything gets painted too. It's got to keep the appliances right. It got to keep the carpet right. You know what I'm saying? There is no free ride. Having your house is not a free ride. There is research, and that I did a Wednesday night on this, that people are staying in their homes and they're in their 80s and they can't afford to stay in it because they need a new roof and they don't have the money. It's not just Black people I'm talking about. This is a national problem. No candidate is talking about that. Like they said on the 60 Minutes interview, what are we going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? They're talking about one week that they want to give you a down payment for a house. And then the next week they say they're going to give you a tax credit for the house. Then they're going to, what I'm saying? But what's the point when you're not even making minimum wage? Our community has more people making minimum wage, which is below a livable wage. Not one person has asked about that when that was a major, major thing for Biden, that he guaranteed that that the federal government was going to increase the minimum wage to a livable wage. That is crickets now. So how are you going to maintain your house, your apartment, your life? You're supposed to get excited about retiring and get a part-time job, and federal minimum wage is ridiculous. You should stay home. Yes. So everything is going to require maintenance. And I have seen clients with their actual escrow, because of their insurance, and taxes, the escrow is way bigger. The money that they have to put away for the taxes and the insurance is way bigger than their house payment. So your house payment becomes relatively small, but what's happening with the other stuff? It's going up. Taxes going up, insurance going up. That's the stuff that's held in escrow when you have the mortgage. You pay the house off. What? The escrow, you would be called escrow. Your bills are going up. The insurance on it's going up. And I saw a lie. I saw a lie today. It said, if you increase your deductible from $500 to $1,000, it said your premium will go down 25%.
That's
Huh? That's a lie.
A lie, exactly. A lie. I
That's
said
a lie.
I'm gonna start doing office hours, and I'm gonna start taking these things like that and just tear it apart. Just share it on the screen like I did with that law, with that and then to put one of the craziness that they put up. I don't even know why I don't do that. But I'm gonna start doing it. I'm gonna have like office hours and I'm just gonna stream and we're gonna talk about this ignorant crap. 24%. And I'm gonna show you an illustration of how the client went from a 500 to 1,000 and it went down about $20. You know what I'm saying? It's not for the year. I found that you have to go up almost to like a $10,000 deductible for it to actually change of any substantial difference. Ain't no 24%. You know what they're talking about is just lies. But increasing your deductible can work, but it only can work if you actually have that money. If you have to have, right, exactly. You have to have it. So you increase it because you don't want it to cost that much, but you gotta have it. You gotta, $5,000 deductible. You gotta have $5,000 available, at least available on the credit card, available somewhere.
Just keep them low.
Keep it low. Keep the credit cards low. Exactly.
Keep your deductibles low.
Yeah. Well, that's because you got money. But I'm telling you, a lot of people just don't have to.
No,
Like,
you don't have to go up to 1,000 or 10,000. You can keep them at 500 or 1,000.
that's just because you got money. I'm telling you. You got money. Do you see that preview when people start and they go, "Oh Lord," and they're on this fixed income. You know what I'm saying? But that is correct. What you're saying, like, why would you increase it that much? But the same person who only has $500 does not have the money to pay that. Isn't that sad? That's sad.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying? They don't have They don't have the money to pay the $300 a month. So they're trying to figure out, how do I get this $300 a month down, to $100 a month? And like you said, well then damn, keep it low. And it's like, no, because then I gotta pay $300 a month for that. So it's like, it is expensive not having money. It is expensive. Like, that's a whole workshop right there. All the things that cost more. Like, if you have poor credit, poor credit is going to increase the homeowners and the vehicle insurance. Quadruple it. Isn't that something? Because you are seen as a risk of making a claim to get money.
The insurance is not just the insurance, the actual product itself. Have bad credit and go out there and ask for a car and see if what
You
you'll
can
end
get
up paying.
look, you can get it, but you're gonna pay, yeah. Yeah, look. You saying like the insurance can cost more than the car payment, really.
It can.
Get that Hellcat, see what happens. Not for you, but for a younger person getting a Hellcat, that payment on the insurance is gonna be more. It's crazy. And it might be even for you.
It could.
Because they be like, this lady got this car because she gonna go crazy. And we have seen it. It's all about the algorithm. They put your age in and the algorithm, and if most of the women your age group got the car and went crazy,
There
it's
it
gonna
is.
be high. Yeah. You think there it is. Do y'all go crazy? You're like, yes, we do. We go crazy. some key things I want to think about, like the types of property insurance we talked about, homeowners insurance, that's going to cover you. And then this is a good thought. And the reason, the whole pieces of the statement, your homeowner's insurance doesn't cover flood, but your homeowner's insurance will cover wind damage that brings water with it. And in the neighborhood, it has a flood. You're still covered. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't the flood, like, so the hurricane, and a lot of people are really confused about this right now. So they think because the hurricane eventually caused the flood, that means that they're not covered. No, because you're gonna have, yeah, thank you. You're gonna have your house messed up, not, way before the flood comes to you. The wind damage is the initial problem, and wind damage is covered. So the wind brings with it all that water. So the insurance company will cover it because it is caused by wind damage. Now, if you're inland, and that flood starts coming, and you're inland and it comes like the next day, you're SOL. That's a flood. But on this day, it comes in tonight, it brings it, it's about, a flood is about a gradual experience. A hurricane is immediate wind damage. It's just, so a tornado, wind damage. Wind damage is covered. Wind damage ruins your roof. It's covered. Imagine somebody just got a new roof, blows it off. The only problem is they could have got a new roof for free. Because if the hurricane blows off the roof, you can get a new roof with the insurance. But what happens with the insurance is your premium's going to be so much higher because you did these losses, you did these claims. Now, so when I was younger, I would pretty much rarely ever do an insurance claim. I think, thank God, the first insurance claim I did was when I totaled the Harley Davidson. And I just said, what the hell? I'm old now. Just give me the money and I'll buy another bike. So I just took the money and bought another bike. But that was the first time, generally, if something happened, I would just pay for it to get done. And I'm the agent. And I still know how much it costs for that loss to be on the record. Now, if you're going to pay, something, even if I did something, I hit someone, I would go get, tell me how much it is and I'll pay for it. I don't know why I started doing that, but I'll just, get it. I remember when I had this office building in this alley, and I backed up and this guy worked at the church. And it was like he had this really, really old car, and I was backing out of mine, and he was coming down the alley or something, and I hit him a little bit. He brought me some bill for like $2,000. I said, he's going to hell. He's going to hell. I paid and gave him the money, but I'm like, he's probably somewhere in hell right now. Because he got somebody to give him a bad, you know what I'm saying? Just give him an invoice. Because there was no way, unless that car was a Mercedes-Benz like mine was then, like that it would have cost him that much to make that repair. It was like he said, yeah, there's something there. I see it, kind of thing. I said, okay, well, just, get it. I'm like, you work at a church. Goodness gracious. No, I should have said, you know about hell, don't you? That is terrible. He took that money. So that's the only disadvantage of like trying to handle things yourself. I think you should just turn it over to the insurance company. I don't know exactly, because I don't know why we have insurance anyway. But I don't know, because we most of us don't. I don't know. There's some people who actually do some really bad claims, because if it's like $50 over your deductible, something like that, I don't think you should count that. You know what I mean? Because all they're gonna do is give you $50 and write it off as a loss. Remember, you got to come up with that first money, whatever your deductible is. That's coming. You got to pay that. Then they pay what's over that. So if it's $1,000 deductible and it's $1,050, don't call that in. Or if they do call it in, still pay it. And I did do that a couple of times. I don't know what was up with all of that. No, Miss Davis, she like, there was a lot of stuff. What were you doing? How you doing, Lee K? So I'd rather go to the insurance. Yeah, let them decide. That's what Attorney Craddock said. He said, let them do their job. I don't know what that was about. Because there's a few exceptions with the claim I made, and a new company, my insurance is lower than before my claim. That is great. I have my current estimate, and it went even lower. It may not be showing up in the system yet if you're still doing it. If you switch them during that process, the new company might not know about that claim yet, but they will soon. Yeah. So but yeah, just be careful. Sometimes they'll find out about it later. They'll adjust your premium. Well, we just saw this loss come up, so we're going to notify your customer that it has come in. Oh, okay. They know. I don't know. Be careful with your coverages, because they sometimes will switch you, say, look, your premium is lower, but you don't have the same amount of coverage as you used to have. So be very careful. Look at your liability. Look at your, limits. How much property cut. No, would be that. Would just look at your liability for the vehicle. Make sure you have comprehensive and collision. Just do them apples to apples, because they will get you. I had a client, and she went in to just update her beneficiary on her life insurance. They put her in a whole new life insurance policy. She didn't even realize what she was signing. And then her premium, because she was a smoker at that point versus her old policy, she wasn't a smoker at that point. She was switched over to as a smoker, and she didn't know what she did until after I told her. I said, that is really foul what they did. She was like, what? I said, they gave you a whole new policy, and all you wanted to do was update your beneficiary. And then so she said, but the premium is the same. And guess what? The premium was the same, but now it was $120 exactly, but $100 of it was premium and $20 was cash value, where before the premium was $20 and $100 was going to cash value. So she's jacked up. And it was so complicated to explain, she couldn't understand what I was saying, that I just said, that's just bad what they did. It's just bad.
What happened to our old policy?
It's gone.
They canceled it?
Yeah, it's gone. Same company.
Oh, man.
They just got rid of it, switched her over to the new policy. That's seriously illegal. Seriously, well, I guess the attorney would say not illegal, but it's unethical. She signed all the forms, though. She went there, she signed all the forms. She thought she was doing a beneficiary change. In there, it was a replacement form. Yeah. And that replacement form said, do you realize that you're switching from this to this? You know what I'm saying? And she said yes by signing, because she thought it was part of the beneficiary change, I guess. It has cost us so much. Yeah. A loss for her money. And as we get older, that naturally happens. But what she did by going in there as a smoker and changing and getting a new policy at that point, she basically, aged her in something that would have happened 20 years later. Gradually over time, your expenses of the policy do go up, and the amount that goes to cash value is going to go down. But by doing what she did, it just did it all of a sudden, and it's her old policy that would have taken forever. There are so many cases where insurance companies, how are you doing, Demand? Where insurance companies drop homeowners, yeah, for neglect on their property, for sure. Because that's their collateral. That's their collateral. They will say, you better get that stuff out of your backyard or we're gonna cancel. Like, you know how people get an old car, put it in the backyard? That insurance company comes by your house every now and then. They see that car out there, they want it gone. They see that pit bull out front, they want it gone. Do you think it's cute? You got these dogs like that. You can't have it in a regular house. They have like a whole list of dogs that aren't allowed. And I forgot that you did a whole lot of work with corporate insurance and stuff. Like, exactly. He's like, yeah, they're like, now you talking.
That's why I can't say anything.
I said, no, this really can't say anything. That's right. Exactly. Well, I'm not going to say, I'm going to tell everybody what company it is. I'm just joking. I'm going to tell them right now. They're going to be like, oh my goodness. I know. But you worked with mutual fund company too.
I'm not saying anything right
You
now.
did all this stuff. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Don't trust nobody but me. That's legal. I can say that. I'm just joking. I'm probably not supposed to say that. Don't trust anybody. Yeah, they're looking, exactly, Ms. Patel. They're looking for hazards all over your property. How you doing, Ms. Kelly? Good to see you. That's exactly. Come do that visual inspection unannounced. That's right. Tell them, Kanika. Yes, indeed. And get you. So like now, a lot of things, with the hurricane, you can imagine every claim officer these companies have are going to be tomorrow heading their way to that area to do an assessment on how much it will cost to get those things corrected, repaired. Yeah, I was telling the client there, I was like, make sure you get everything that's important to you out of your car. Because, like cars float away. The water just lift the cars up. So, just make sure if you leave it in the car, take a picture of it, I guess. But the homeowners is for the dwelling, your personal property, liability. When you think about liability for your house, what do you think about? Like, liability. What do you think? Like, why do you think you need that coverage? Like, what could happen at your house that the liability insurance would help you?
So if a tree falls down on the top,
No.
is that not?
No.
No.
That's not liability.
Somebody trips on your stair and sues you.
Okay, then let's say, some wild dog, it's not mine, but bites my best friend that comes over here, and then I got that to deal with, and it would be a liability to me.
Mostly if it was your dog.
Well,
I don't know what we would do if it was somebody else's dog, because that would probably be a criminal matter.
but see if they, let's not say a wild dog, but the dog was one I was dog sitting. It wasn't mine.
Oh, you were dog sitting. Oh, it's on now. Yeah.
Well, even if somebody trips over a turned up rug.
Yep. When they get drunk, you know how you been having those wild P Diddy parties. Don't be trying to act like you don't be having. You be like, yeah, 60 plus up in here. They be like, where P Diddy? You be like, he coming. Fonny gonna be here in a minute. Look, here go Fonny. Where the Grey Goose? I'm a Grey Goose, Fonny come up in there, she trip up, fall on Wade and everything.
JB, that's ugly, okay.
Look, then Wade fall over. Wade only drinking wine, but he fell because Fonny fell on him. And they fall
It's
all
ugly.
over in your house, fall through the floor,
Yeah,
fall through the floor because you were covering up a hole in your floor with the rug. Funny. Funny, you
So
know
you got all
nothing.
these wild comments. Look what you started.
And the
Baby
baby
oil and all that mess.
oil, weed up, weed up. And you had too much baby oil on the floor that you know if that baby oil gets on that floor and somebody slip, that's liability.
Reverend
You are
Bozeman, stop her.
responsible. All right, Major Prada. Thank you so much. It's great to see you. I love you. You be good. Thank
You
you.
too. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All
stop
right.
her.
That's right.
thanks for.
Exactly. We're gonna be careful with the baby oil over here, Major Prada. We got it. But we're gonna but those are the type of things like that. And then if you need more liability coverage, you could do something called an umbrella policy. Have you ever heard that term?
Yeah.
Umbrella. So the umbrella gives you additional liability for your car and your house. So if I want to get you into umbrella position, then I'm going to make sure the company will say they must have at least this amount of coverage with their car and this amount of coverage with the house. And then the umbrella covers everything extra.
Now, that's probably going to send the premiums up a little bit higher too, though, won't it? Most likely.
Liability coverage though is not that expensive and it is
Mhm.
very important. It's not that expensive. Like, that umbrella like renters coverage, renters policy is mostly just property, you know. The renter is not gonna have to have liability coverage because what?
That should be the
I think the owner
landlord.
probably has it. The
Yeah,
owner of the apartment or
that's right.
whatever.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Is that because they're assuming that the only thing that could happen is something that's dealing with the property. Like if you don't cover your pool in the back, then it is actually you can be sued for um, not covering your pool properly. Because
Mhm.
that is your liability to cover the pool so that the neighbor's kid doesn't get in your pool. Isn't that something? So if they get in your pool
Then that's
and you
liability.
don't have it covered, then that's going to fall under the owner. So if you're the renter, that's interesting though. If you rented out a house that had a pool and yeah, it still could be your fault as the owner of the property because of the negligence of that person who's keeping the house, who's in that house. It wouldn't be.
Actually, you can sue both of them. The renter who didn't cover,
Yeah,
and the landlord, the owner.
there would be no money really with the renter, but if they were rich, like if Mike Tyson, LeBron was renting that out, you definitely could. You would go after, but you would, basically the whole thing is about finding the money.
Yeah.
And whoever has the liability policy is the one that it would pay out. The renter wouldn't automatically, and that's why people who with a high net worth, my clients, you all need to have, a good amount of liability coverage. And the more wealthy you get, the more it might be that we need to have the umbrella and more umbrella. So that's why I always say, like, hey, let's do an insurance analysis. Let's do. It's not just about selling it because a lot of times, I'm just analyzing it so that you can go back to the company that you're currently using and make sure that they have proper coverage. I've found many errors in insurance coverages when I analyze it. So I hope that some of you are watching right now will say in our next meeting, okay, let's go over, I'm gonna send you the insurance, I'm gonna put the insurance policy in the portal, and that'll give me a moment so I can analyze it, and then we can go from there. Yeah. How you doing, Mr. Barton? You looking like Gandhi tonight. Look at him.
Mhm.
Don't it? You don't even look like a Black American. Are you sure you in Afro economics? That's funny. He's like, how do I look like Gandhi tonight? You do. You look like Miss Patel's husband. I told her the other night. She said, my husband does not look like Gandhi. She said, I'm going to tell him. I'm going to tell him. She showed me a beautiful picture. Look, in California, tell us, Barbara, if you have a pool, yeah, right? It must have latch, locks, gates. It's not about pool covers. Good for them. Yeah, I bet that like me saying the pool cover is like so antiquated. So that probably like you have to have just something, some way of defense of saying, I tried to keep these kids out. That lock will probably work anywhere at this point. But if they like didn't have the gate, then it would be like they're not, because the pools and things like that, like if somebody had like a pole vault or a trampoline, they're called an attractive nuisance. And you have to be very careful having an attractive nuisance. Like having a handsome man in your backyard, is an attractive nuisance. Keep Reverend Bozeman and Mr. Barden out of the backyard. Look at this. You are causing a traffic jam. These two, and Lord, don't let them sit up front in the front of the house. It's attractive nuisance, causing it cause traffic problems.
All right.
See something? He said, "All right." Attractive nuisance. For example, everybody gonna be thinking exactly, Kanika. Don't look, Kanika. Do not put handsome men in front of your house. Amen. Reverend Edlow said, if you serve on not-for-profit boards, what is not covered by the directors and officers coverage, we would have to see the details on, because it is suggested for me that I avoid them, that I don't serve on boards. That I've been, told by advisors in my industry, especially because of my come at me asking financial questions and things like that, but that would be a key question to, definitely, like we could do a group meeting with them, with their insurance company, or at least get their declaration page and the details of the insurance that shows the coverages for directors and officers. And then we could see where the holes would be. Yeah, even if it's a not-for-profit or a nonprofit, or corporate boards, like, yeah. And every board might have different insurance, like with the AME church we were talking about. Like, if they had like some really rich people, like say TD Jakes was on the board and then that pension was robbed like that, right? And they just go, we're going after TD Jakes. And then they say, oh, we didn't pay our board insurance either. Exactly. Look, what would be the likelihood if they don't have everybody's pension? How do they gonna pay for the insurance, right? That would be crazy. And the people on the board would just be sued. So you would have to make sure, excuse me, that you have your own coverage. So your umbrella policy would cover, but maybe not, because they might say, excuse me, they might say that's a personal thing. That's a professional thing, not personal. Because your umbrella policy would be personal. My liability personal insurance wouldn't cover my errors and omissions at work. So I have to have two different, policies. I have to have my professional liability as well as the personal protection.
What if you got bonded as on a board as a board member? What if you got bonded?
That's probably that's a form of just liability insurance, isn't it?
Right, right.
Or is it just telling them what you won't do? But you have to make sure that the bonding is protecting you from something,
Yeah,
because the bonding a lot of times is just protecting them from you.
that's true.
Like, so you got to make sure, like, okay, y'all are protected from me, but what about, how are how are you protecting me from what
Yeah,
you all might do? That to me is the bigger risk. There's only one of you. There's a whole bunch of them working for them that
yeah,
could do wrong
true that.
and reflect on you. And then they go, oh, Reverend Bozeman was on the board and they stole all this money from the homeless. And you're like, well, I had no idea. And they're like, why did you have no idea?
Right, you're on the board.
You're on the board and you took all that money. I bet you got some because you just got a new car. And you're like, what? It's that easy. It's
Yeah,
that easy to go from being the guy out front and everybody likes you to being thrown in the backyard just like
amen.
that from one lawsuit.
Hmm.
You no longer stop traffic, but it is. It's like one person was saying, if you get a federal charge, it's basically over for your career. And so flood insurance is separate and a separate insurance, and every property like has its own coding for flood risk. So when you're purchasing, you need to be aware because the mortgage company certainly is aware. That's the one advantage of having a mortgage debt, because they're going to make sure the house is inspected. They're going to make sure that they are fully protected at all times. They're going to, and that's the way as your house is paid off, because more people than ever have their house paid off. So that means that all of this insurance and responsibility is on you, because somebody forgot to pay their insurance, and then now the hurricane is coming. Literally, there's hundreds of people, maybe thousands, that did that because their house was paid off and they didn't even think about that insurance. And then what happens is we get faxes and the insurance companies go, we're not taking any more policies for Florida. We're not taking any more policies for Georgia right now. Nobody can be bound for coverage. If you're, if you ain't pay your premium, you're SOL.
One thing
No,
I'm hearing is like some of the Floridians who have
yeah,
lived there, countless
yeah,
years, can't even afford insurance on their homes because of,
true.
the calamities and all this other stuff that comes through there.
That's right.
So they don't even have it because I think they say pound per pound, to them it would be cheaper in many ways to just come back and rebuild and just pay for it because the insurance is not really going to pay them, and so they
Mhm.
don't really,
Oh, because
you
it's like,
know,
yeah, like if nothing has happened for 30 years and they've had it, you know what I'm saying? Paid off, whatever,
yeah.
and they haven't paid insurance for 30. Well, if you have a mortgage on it, you don't even have that option. You got to have insurance. So
Mhm.
they're going to, you be like with state insurance, like there'll be the state will cover people, but it's not going to give you all the bells and whistles like sewage backup and all this stuff that you would get on a full policy. It might not even cover theft, but it will cover if your house gets blown over by a hurricane. It might not
I
even
find
cover
it
replacement, so you might have to get bare bones cost. It'll just cover the cost of what you pay for replacement. Having replacement coverage on your policy is vital, because it adjusts the cost of rebuilding your house to inflation, by inflation. So
One of the
there's
things
some.
though,
Hmm.
I've always found it amazing how, okay, you got a hurricane, we got hurricane season, and in Florida, you're subjected to it 10 times everybody else. Okay, but people, house just goes on in the river, goes on in the Atlantic Ocean or in the Gulf, and they come right back and rebuild. Down in Pass Christian, Mississippi, same thing.
Wow.
And it's just as heavily populated there year after year.
Amen.
There's a house, it's on stilts, but it's gone on, in the Gulf
So
somewhere where they come right back and
so
and
true.
they'll tell you, well, we've been through 5 of these. We just rebuild.
So
I'm
true.
like, really?
But like the house is not built
Seriously.
like your house. You see what I'm saying? It's not like your house. Your house is brick. You know what I'm saying? These are
It's
just
frame, mine is frame structure.
okay.
It's just
Well,
got a
anyway,
base.
but it's not like your house. Your house is built like those homes are kind of like built disposable. Like, you know what I'm saying? It'll have the structure, but it's not like your structure where yours is built to like stay there for 100
Mhm.
years. If you're on the water like that, and they're putting it up on stilts and you know what I'm saying? They're fully aware that this thing might be, at any time it could float away, and they can't afford to put as much in it as you did as far as by square footage. You're putting a lot more. It might not have
Hmm.
to have, but in Florida they are required that they have these new codes, but it might not have to have all of the insulation in the where you soundproof and all that kind of stuff that
Okay.
you have. They're just built different. Like you have a whole bunch of things. I mean, it has to be built so that it won't be blown away, to some degree. But if they're not putting the kind of money you put into your house per square foot, they might build right there on the water and put as much money as you put on the house. But that property is worth $1 million, but they didn't put
Mhm.
$1 million into that house. They
'Cause
might
it's probably gonna float away in the next
yeah.
couple.
So
Yeah.
they're so rich, 300,000 is nothing to them.
I just still find it
I know.
amazing.
That's nothing to them.
So,
I know. I mean, and they don't even and they're self-insured. There's a lot of businesses that are self-insured. Like they don't even, have to pay for insurances for their trucks and stuff like that. 'Cause they have their own deposits and reserve and all that, So that's what they do with their house. You know, I believe there are people that are so rich, just born that kind of rich, that it's hard for us to, fathom, that they're born and live their whole life with millions of dollars growing for them. So when they pull out, 300,000 to rebuild, the house on the beach, that's nothing. They pull out 500, it's nothing. And then their accountant, figures out how to write it off, write the whole loss of the property that floated away. They get to write it off.
just die.
Right? I mean, yeah. So it's it's all about how you learn. How it could even, somebody could even have where the property is owned by their business,
Mhm.
and it's whole covered possibly by their business liability insurance and and all their business property insurance because they hold meetings there or whatever. Like they're we're investigating that guy that Clarence Thomas was spending a lot of time with, and his business owned his yacht, and the IRS was giving the man a hard time because he was saying that the yacht wasn't just used for business and that they were using it for personal use, but they were a lot of people have yachts and it is a yacht for business, and it is be hard for someone like that on but things that again, that's weaponizing our system in order for a political agenda. Sad. We won't be able to afford homes soon based on the expenses associated with home ownership. not even necessarily, it's the truth. Exactly what I'm saying. I already see it, happening.
Well, that's what the World Economic Forum wants. You will own nothing and be happy.
Mm, mm.
And
Jesus
now
didn't
the UN is
look.
behind it
Jesus
as
didn't
well.
own anything.
Yeah.
No, that as long as I have myself, as long as I own myself. A lot of people don't own themselves. That's the problem. That's sad. Like we put so much into owning things that we just really have forgotten how to have our own mind, how to create our own business and create our own income, have our own things. And well, I mean, and then the system is set up so good now that people think that they own things that they don't even own. They don't own that. You're making payments on that car that is not your car. You're making payments on the house that is not your house. You put your shoes on that credit card, those aren't your shoes. Mm, yes. The praise. So I think a lot of people have noticed also that that the insurance, I heard that, Cat, that was crazy, that the insurances are going up, and up. And then I think it's important to communicate with whomever you're getting your insurance with, that is your house really worth that much? Are the homes in your neighborhood selling for that much? Investigate it, because they're constantly doing an adjustment in your home value, especially if you have a replacement cost policy. But just make sure that you have not they have not exaggerated the value of your house more than they're actually going to replace it for. Because if something happens, and they have adjusted it all the way up to a $500,000 house, but for sure that their home, if you had to build it, it would be about 350 to rebuild it. Well, your premium is being based on too much, but you need to talk to them about it, because they might say, well, in order to have our replacement cost coverage, we need to have it there, but we're, but then confirm, like, but you're actually only going to replace it for the cost of building this today, which we don't have anything in my neighborhood that high. But you gotta talk to them. You can't just call and say lower it, because they might have some sort of formula in their algorithm and they know that they're exaggerating it and they're only going to replace it up to 80%. There's always something. So protect yourself before you leave me. So I think we talked about a lot just in our conversation. But I think that what I really want you to take home is that just when the hurricane causes the flood, when the hurricane causes the damage, don't think that you have to have flood insurance to be protected. The hurricane, the wind, is the source of your loss, not the flood. The flood, and may have happened and come to the neighborhood afterwards, and the whole neighborhood is flooded. But the hurricane, the wind, caused the damage to your house and brought the water with it. So, but if you gradually are somewhere close and gradually that water comes over to your place, like the next day, or even later on, like, that's a flood. And that's why you need to have flood insurance. Has it landed? Y'all know anything yet?
Yeah, it just hit Sarasota, Florida.
Is that near?
Is it still Category 5?
I don't know. I just got a flash on my computer that it just hit Sarasota, Florida.
It came on as a 3, and Sarasota is south of Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. but it's still on that same line, huh?
Yeah.
And then it said that it was coming to St. Peters. It said it was going to go in maybe to St. Petersburg. As I had said that, and then one of our members that lives down there, and she was like, "No, it's not going to get St. Petersburg, but I think it is because it changed direction during the day.
Mhm.
Came a little bit over from Tampa towards to the east a little bit. There's going to be something, Like I know we're going to continue to pray for them because it's
Well, see,
category 3. Yeah.
yeah, Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, it's all right there together, isn't it?
Yep. We got people in Clearwater too.
Yeah.
I hope they're watching. We're praying for y'all.
Mhm.
No, do the right thing. And it's good thing, like they're keeping the hospitals open. No, it's
Mhm.
amazing the kind of stuff out here now, isn't it?
Yes.
That they have like all the that big wall like that. 50 feet, 50 foot, 15 foot wall.
15.
That's interesting. But we have so much time. We have so much warning. We're so blessed. You think about that. We just have time. Because of the satellites, we have time. True? Yeah, but we're blessed. Y'all be good to each other. If there's anything I can help you with, don't hesitate to tell me, what I can do. Schedule a meeting, just let me know. If you called and I didn't call you back, please call me back because my assistant is getting school straight, which is my assistant, my assistant, which is my daughter right now, and she's on like sabbatical. I'm like, girl, if you're gonna do this, you got to do it.
Mhm.
The best way to communicate is to just keep calling. Look, if you called, please call again. The anything I can do to help, I will. Set up your complimentary consultation. I don't like email. Don't do the email. And then she will get it because she's going. She has told me today. She started working again today. She was like, I'm gonna call. She called everybody for tomorrow. This is a good sign. Hopefully everybody got their emails. And everything is back on track. But
Okay.
that was like September. Now it's October. She was doing great through the summer, wasn't she? Um, that wasn't she doing good through the summer? She was doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
classes started back in September, and it's like it was on. But look, that's all right. Money is the great motivator for young people. Y'all stay motivated. Exactly. She ran out of money. She was like, the holidays are coming. The holidays are coming. God is good. Y'all be good to yourselves. Stay positive. Stay protected. I am here for you. God bless y'all. Bye bye.
God bless you.
Bye bye. Thank
Love
you.
you.
Love
See
you.
you
I love you
Friday.
more than that. Yes.
Bye-bye.
Friday.
Good
All right.
night.
That's right.
Night.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye there. Y'all so good. Ooh. Oh goodness. Chris is just cussing in this song. Y'all ain't never heard these words. Cover your ears.
I can't hear it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Look, Mr. Barnes like, I want to hear it. What is it? It's just disgusting. Young people listen to this exactly. Cover yourself.
All right.
See
See
you
you.
later. Bye
All right.
bye.
I send it back home so you can label it. Okay, let's talk about this ice that I'm carrying.
Thank you for everything, everybody. You take care. Bye now.